new and refreshing ways. And what was really fun is watching him play both with Grizz and he's played with a bunch of the different dogs here, but with some of the reactive dogs here, and seeing how some of his techniques are, while we use very different language to describe them, we've come down to some very similar actual methods and patterns. And I don't know, I understand things through my own language, and I'm sure that Scott understands what's going on in his language. To me, I love to hear those differences and try to say, oh, what is, can I look at this a different way? Does it help me? So, Scott's been on our group, on our page for a long time now, and I always love having his input because it's always so fascinating and interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to him.
Yay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gotta have some sort of exuberance, right, with my presentation. All right, that's it, enough. So briefly, I want to discuss something what I'm going to be discussing is more about the emotional side of dogs. And it's fun that I have a dog going poo in front of you. It's very important, we'll get back to this later on. But something else I want to discuss is, I'm going to be pretty serious in how we go through most of this. There will be certain little different things we're going to discuss. But, so this picture, we're going to come back to later. What I'm going to discuss is how to help a dog feel safe naturally. We're literally play the stress away. And how this is important to dogs, how it pertains to people, because what I'm discussing is crossover studies. This is stuff we found in mice, we found in hippos, we found in alligators, we found in rats, we found in humans. This also is stuff that's going to be combined with stuff that Jane talked about very clearly, learning theory, different ways of learning, stuff that Caitlin talks about, something that everybody has discussed so far, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's all stuff that works together, so don't think that I'm trying to take behaviorism and emotions and separate it. I'm not. I'm combining. So we're putting more and more stuff together. The more we find out, the more we look around. I want to discuss the 7 primary emotional systems. We're going to go through them, but I'm only going to focus on seeking, play, and care. We have a lot of studies on rage. We discovered rage back in 1949 with cats before we used rats for scientific studies. So we have a lot on rage. We discuss fear a lot and body language on fear, keeping dogs safe and understanding the body languages of stress and things like that. I'm going to talk about my hero pretty much, one of my huge influences, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Jaak Panksepp, with Affective Neuroscience. He actually coined that term. We're going to discuss seeking, rage, fear, lust, care, panic, grief, and play. Remember, these are primary emotional systems. They start at the very base of the brain. The oldest, most primary aspects of the brain. I'm nervous, I'm going to screw up a lot of my technical stuff. I did go over this quite a few times, don't worry. But the things that start at the evolutionary in the brain is what drives your chemicals in your body to develop and things like that. Not just the DNA, but this is what makes certain things happen in your brain for your body and behaviors to happen. That will also go with, like again, things everybody else here has discussed. There's 7 key elements that I discussed. Oh, I have to go back for a second. What I want to do is we're going to enable a dog to make the decision to ask for help, reduce stress in their form of communications, with an emphasis on seeking, play, and care. Remember, seeking, play, and care. Primary emotions, meaning they are deep-seated. And how do we know they're deep-seated? Jaak actually took out frontal cortexes of 3-day-old mice. When they were healed with his undergrads, he said, figure out which ones the ones that don't have a frontal cortex. Half of them got it wrong. because everybody could play. Everybody was able to get upset. Everybody was seeking out play and care and those typical things. The ones that they thought were mentally handicapped, or however you wanted to call it, most people chose the ones that had a frontal cortex, because the frontal cortex made the animals think and perceive and get a little more, cautious. Primary means it's very basic. Very basic. So I want to talk about 7 key elements in reality, meaning there's a lot of times where I don't get to set the dog up for huge amounts of success. We're not able to do a lot of repetiting. But I see people that are so focused on, we're going to keep walking, we're going to get in and out of the situation. So one thing I always want to discuss, no matter what you do, you're going to hear, and everybody here has talked about it, taking care of your dog's needs. Your most primary, basic needs. Food, water. Not even primary, just your basic care needs. Your dog goes anywhere. They're excited, they're nervous. One of the things they're going to do is go to the bathroom and probably get water. Let's go potty and get water. I've interrupted play many a times to say, let's go get water. Your dog needs water. You're training, foam on the mouth, different type of things. Your dog needs water. I'm going to teach you how to look for some of those signs as well. So your dog, you can go, too excited. You see kids all the time. Play is such a primary thing that they will override their basic needs. Because remember, this is core emotions, primary emotions. They will override play. Is so fun. Play lights up the brain like a Christmas tree. It's been scientifically proven. It lights up the brain. It's pleasure. It's seeking. It's a great time to bond with your dog. So what's going to happen? I don't need to go to the bathroom. Everything you're doing, water. Let's go rest. No. Play. And then finally, you get the dog or the kid out to the car, and they pass out. I told you, if you would have just listened to me, I could have taken you out, you would have rested, we would have been done 10 minutes ago, and I wouldn't be as frustrated. But it's such a core emotion, and it's so good and so pleasurable, that's all they're really going to focus on, especially as younger kids, because the frontal cortex is not fully developed to make the rational decisions. Another thing that never stops, you'll hear people say, a dog is stressed, it's not going to learn. Wrong. Seeking never stops. That is the most primary, the core emotion. You're stressed. Why is she looking at me like that? Cole looks a little safer. Oh, they're running at me. Oh, Cole's safer. Oh, nope, not anymore. I'm going to go find out something else I need to do. That is seeking. They're going to seek pleasure, ways to escape, how they're going to feel better. How am I processing this? Okay, I'm trying to get to Cole, but somebody's coming up behind me. I'm trying to run from Jane. Well, what else is over here? These are just, and those are just what we can comprehend. Everything else from touch, from sensories, from everything else, and then the dog's nose. It's already perceived all this different stuff and categorized it. It's never stopping. Seeking never stops. So I've got 2 pictures here. One is taking care of a dog's needs. This is Rigby. He's one of my, what I call reactive tendency dogs. If a dog is labeled as reactive, that's pretty much the only behavior they have. Now, if I can play with the dog, if the dog can use its other core emotions, it has other things. We don't label a person, that's, unless they have nothing else wrong with them, that's a playful person. But the moment they act out, that person looks anxious. We don't end it, we kind of end it at that and leave it as that's a diagnosis. Well, yes, they can, because it's an emotion. Take care of the dog's needs. If the dog's basic needs are met, they're going to be a little bit more honest in what's happening. They're going to be able to observe and feel safer to learn, or feel safer to express themselves. Here I've got 2 dogs with reactive tendencies, believe it or not. Rigby, who I'm working with, Aisha, who's actually in the play bow position, not for his attention, but for my attention. Rigby, you see the body language where he's curious and looking. He's observing, he's learning, he's also listening. This is a dog that came from a 1.5-year board and train that was corrected every time before he could even really think about doing something wrong, because you're not allowed to let your dog think. That's the board and training came from. I know that, being he's corrected for so long, for 1.5 years. I had to kind of work him out of that, because that's what he knows and is expecting and anticipating, because he's listening for a leash correction the moment he sees a dog. It's not going to happen. Why isn't it going to happen? Now I'm making him think something differently. Now his attention and his emotions and his senses are working differently, as opposed to I'm waiting for the feel. When I see something, now I'm going to listen. Where is the people behind me? Why is there no correction? Stressful, yes, but he's aware and learning. He's seeking. It never stops. Again, seeking. Emotion to help a dog process all available information. You see dogs that have with reactive tendencies or reactive, they look at something, they snap. Well, your dog is so focused on looking and reacting, he's not using all of his information available. He's used his nose, but he hasn't processed it fully because he's too busy looking for something. He's anticipating something. His brain's looking to make sure he's going to feel safe or whatnot. But if you notice the picture change from here, where I'm the one taking care of the picture, I'm the photographer in all this. Aisha's there, positions change. He's still looking at Aisha, thinking Aisha's supposed to react to him because he's staring. If I'm over here, and that's the owner, I feel safe. Notice what the owner's body placement is too. Rigby's kind of on his own, right? Look at this picture. The owner's not there. She doesn't look stressed. She doesn't feel stressed. Look what Rigby's doing now. Now he's looking for me. Why am I doing something different? This is all within 2 or 3 minutes. This is just enough time for me to get the picture of Aisha, figure out what's going on. And actually, these are screenshots because I'm filming most of this because I know what I'm looking for with the dog. So I feel safe enough to do this. And again, feeling safe is very, very, very important. For us, general public, our dogs, and everybody else. Taking care of your dog's needs helps them feel safe, helps them want to communicate better. So we have things that dogs do when they're able to process all the available information, they feel safe enough to communicate through self-expression. Is we use play. We don't use play, dogs use play. It's a core emotion. Yes, there are behaviors, there are play behaviors. Most of the time when I put play in, and I kind of screwed that one up, play is capitalized. Play is actually a scientific term according to Jaak Panksepp, because he had, in order to show that the core emotions were primary, he had to have certain types of meanings behind it, because he didn't want it to be confused with the general public. Play is a reward, because behaviorism, play is a rewardable and learned behavior, right? Wrong. It can be, it's not the only aspect of it, but if you take out the frontal cortex, guess what? Every vertebrate, every mammal plays. So it must be primary. It's across the board. It's not something that has to be taught. They'll do it certain different ways. And it's not structured play, it's called free play. Things that they like to do. Well, a lot of the problems I had with what training was doing was we were always avoiding. We were always going away from stuff. Believe it or not, Aisha, I can't go a block, half a block, and we have to go a half a block to where I can availably actually park for free and leave my car there for 2 hours if I have to. That's the time limit. And walk to go to the bathroom after she's been home all day. Let her go take care of her basic needs. She has to go to the bathroom. There is a rare day I don't run into a dog. I park in front of her house, I get a parking ticket. That's $60+. I don't feel safe. My bank account says, don't do it. My conversation with cops says, don't you dare. Don't even think about it. So, depending on what it is, I need to take her out to go to the bathroom. She has to be able to handle that kind of stress. Those emotions have to go through, but she's focused on going to the bathroom, which is going to be a relief. She's anticipating that relief, so we can use that to our advantage. Back to this. After a dog has gone to the bathroom, just about every dog I've ever seen, what is one of the first things they do?
Shake or kick.
Stress reliever.
Yep, absolutely.
Going poo is stressful. Go here? Do I gotta go? Some dogs just go, yeah, I'm done. This is the perfect spot. Other dogs, it takes a little bit.
When we had the dog poop in here the other day, it was a perfect example.
Yeah, and then when if they kick, you kind of look at their face and you see them light up a little bit. It's a stress reliever. It is natural dog communication. That is a play behavior. That is a core play emotion. I have a hard time still trying to say behavior because everything is behavior. They're not wrong. We're not saying they're wrong. But this is not a reinforced behavior. This is something that happens naturally, right? They poo. They're happy. What do they want to do? They want to find somebody to enjoy that with. Ideally, if that's you, go enjoy it with them. It sucks. We got to stop and pick it up. But they're on a 6-foot leash. All right, yeah, let's run around in here. I got you. Okay, now let me help you pick this up, please. Okay, you're watching. Okay, I gotta go pick it up. And then you can go back and doing what you need to do. The dog's mind has been able to feel safe enough to go to the bathroom. Now you've increased play. You've created new neural pathways in the brain. Instead of being one to be reactive in that area, you're starting to cement more to go do something else, to seek out pleasurable behaviors. Something more pleasurable, make the brain feel better.
Do you ever encounter with the dogs you walk, dogs that don't feel safe to go potty on leash with you? Because I think I encountered that after people have like used punishment to house break or something, like from within 10 feet of that dog. It is not gonna.
We can get to that. We'll get to that one too. Another aspect, another core emotion is care. Women do this much better than men. But we do have different ways of doing it. Men use free play, rough and tumble play as our form of care. Women are smarter. I've gone to many houses like, who is the alpha in the house? Every man. All the kids go to mom. The wife goes to the husband and goes, or goes to this way and then goes, no, the husband. Husband goes, wife. Because she knows how to take care of everybody. Men usually do find a wife because they feel safe with that person so they can express their emotions, which we're not allowed to have in public. But we can save this and we can grow from that. When you have a safe space, you can grow. When you're in public, not every dog wants to play. Not every dog's gonna roll. And play behaviors when they're doing it themselves, rolling, digging, zoomies, and
Point at
sometimes
the big
jumping.
screen. We can't see where you point.
It's your rolling, digging, zoomies, jumping, and jumping at you. If they're focusing on you, they're feeling safe enough not to act out. They've learned new pathways and they're being cemented in the brain. Remember, all this stuff is very primal core emotions. This stems from the very base of the brain, and the neurons fire different ways. If they're firing different ways and so used to being in one direction, they're going to start learning to be new directions and they're going to start communicating differently. Just like Ajax. Once he learned to feel safe, when I was in there and you said that the dog, Scott, you're doing this, he looked at you and said, I'm not worried about him. Whether it's a distance, whatever it was, he went right back to playing. So that stress trigger wasn't worth it anymore. When he didn't have another form of communication. Thanks to Caitlin, I got the ground. So I didn't have to be as much of a threat as her. So that's why I got to stay in there a little bit longer and watch him play and reward the play behaviors. But also it wasn't just that, it's how he felt safe with the other lady and understanding she's gonna take care of him so he can express himself in different ways. When you're out in public and your dog looks nervous and they're seeking and they stop and they're froze, they stop to express. Look, you still got a little bit of body movement. They're looking forward. They're kind of listening over here, listening for you. You start to see a dog in the distance, you're like, all right, but I'm not going to call my dog, he's not going to listen. You can walk over to your dog and you can comfort your dog. You can be there. That is care. You're reaching out to show, hey, I've got you. I'm here with you. You're comforting them. You can do the slight touch. Touch, skin, and fur is meant for touch and being able to explore the environment through the environment. So if you touch, they feel it, they acknowledge it. You've automatically got their brain looking for something else. The brain is looking more for you. They're going to start to realize what you're doing. You might not get eye contact, but you might get a little bit of a lean. When you've got that lean, you've changed emotional response. Now they're looking about something else. Now you can start directing with your hands what you want them to do. Hand manipulation, T-touch. You start getting into massage, right? You start manipulating the body. you get the blood flowing in a different area. Affective neuroscience has actually said if I hug you, if you're my significant other and you hug, I know if I hug you long enough, your heart rate will lower, your blood pressure changes, right? That's affective neuroscience. This is where most of this is coming from. Using care. Here's what she's doing. She's comforting her dog. Same situation. Nothing has changed. We're still there. He's processing his environment. We're helping him think about it differently. He's able to think about it differently. He's going to feel safe. Looking for mom. See the body language in the second one? Mom still doesn't care. See him leaning? He's leaning. The same thing we do with Ajax. I don't know if you got to see it. I mean, he's a big black panther. He just blends in with that crate, but see how he's changed? Aisha and I are still sitting there. I'm not paying attention to Aisha because I don't want her to feel like it's all about her, but I'm tossing her rewards. I'm having mom reward Rigby because bottom line, I'm not going home with Rigby. She is. We have our games, but I need him to listen to her on leash after 1.5 years of corrections. Communication. Now that I know he's able to pay attention, I'm not making him happy and we're not celebrating this. After a stressful situation, if you really watch dogs, especially male dogs, some females too, depending on how well they are in tune with their bodies, I guess, first thing a boy dog wants to go do is pee. It is a long, thick, hard, release. After a good couple beers, yeah. But that's stress for dogs, that's a stress reliever. If that's a stress reliever, they're going to be a little bit happier because those stress chemicals are released. They got to go somewhere. They got to relieve the body somehow. We already know, like, I'm having the same type of body emotions right now and behaviors. My mouth is getting dry, my stomach's rumbling. Same thing if I was hungry, but I know I ate. My body's telling me it's something different. I need to learn what these other things are. I can just go keep eating, stress eat, because I'm stressed. But it's also a learning experience. I'm not done seeking. I may be giving you information, but I'm not seeking how this stuff is. I don't see anybody asleep. If I had half the crowd asleep, then I can be like, yeah, I'm done. Right? But that's not how it works. I'm going to show you how to look for stress signals while your dog is actually happy. Believe it or not, that happens too. Here's Hunter. Do you see any stress signals in this dog?
Yes.
Eyes a little squinty,
Around the
A
mouth.
little squinty.
a little tightness around the mouth.
Double lines around the mouth. This is the #1 cue that I say it's time to take a break. I deal with daycare dogs. I walk dogs, 6 dogs at a time. My groups, which if you ever watch my videos, I didn't post my information. We'll do that later. Picture 2. Same situation. See how prominent the double lines are on the face?
Oh yeah, huh? Forehead.
See how prominent that it is?
And when I see the horses, we call it, the dry face, you start to see
Exactly.
the bones start to get really distinct.
Exactly. Then you can start to look and see what type of foam is on the dog's
And
mouth.
that's water because they're like that's
It's
just
dry,
tension.
so it looks dry, they look more skeletal as
Yeah.
opposed to, like well hydrated and puffy. And,
Got it.
Exactly.
And
That's
it's
when. But
tension.
if
Got it.
Hunter had a choice, he would still go play.
Yeah.
So I purposely call him out. I'm always rewarding behaviors I want repeated. So Hunter needs something, he's going to come look for me. While he's still happy, still wanting to play, because we were understanding, hey, guess what? I see these body language. See, I see this body, the subtle body changes. Sorry. I
Shows
see
it
these
there.
subtle body changes, and then the tongue starts coming out a little bit more. The tongue comes to a point or a giant scoop. I don't like that. I see a pit bull grin, the big cheesy smile. No, your dog is done. You are going to go sit down while I go rest with your dog because you're neglecting. Forget it. I'm going to take care of your dog. I need to calm your dog down, make sure nobody else comes near your dog because your dog can't think straight. Your dog's brain is fried. This, to me, is also equivalent of a computer where the internal organs of the computer are hot, the fan kicks on. It may be cooler, but you touch the outside, it's still hot. The brain needs to cool down. This is the way the brain is saying, I need to cool down. The body's showing you the brain needs to cool down. Go get water. From there we can decide if we need rest. Once everything's kind of taken a rest, we'll take one out to get water first, let everybody else come and follow. Because then all start to go, oh yeah, I need water too. Good, now we're all getting water. We're all getting our needs met together. They'll start looking for each other, say, oh, is he gonna go do it? Oh, is Scott gonna go take us to get water soon? Hey, can you come get me water? Good, let's go. I walk dogs. We have to be in a safe area so they can go run, go potty. Because when I get them, they gotta go to the bathroom. They're not all gonna poo together at the same spot. Nobody wants to do that. That's why I hate public restrooms. You're like, dude, really? And I'm good. But seeing this before they act out, before they give you a verbal, humans love dramatics. But if I see stuff like this, it's still subtle. I don't have to stop the whole group because one dog needs something. I can get that dog to get its needs met while everybody else has their wants and desires being met, and I'm not breaking up the group. Hunter can get his stuff. He hasn't really missed anything because everybody's still doing it. He can go back to go play, and the next dog can come out. So I definitely look for stuff like this, any of these. I purposely did this with Hunter, made him wait while I took these pictures so we can see what's actually going to happen. 7 key elements to help a dog feel safe, and I have an emphasis on safe because it's not always about the environment, it's about your dog feeling safe. Meeting their needs. And we'll discuss more how I figure out what the needs are. Watch behaviors. I will reward behaviors I want repeated. I let them self-express. If I have a dog with reactive tendencies, I let them self-express. They are allowed to show they are upset. Dogs have emotions. Expression of being reactive is one of those. I'm not going to suppress it. I won't let them put them in a situation to have them to do that, but if it happens, I know what I'm looking at. With play, what play behaviors do you have? When you are playing, what are you doing? Are you running and avoiding? Well, if your dog can run and avoid, guess what? When they're out in public, they can back up. They can do it when they're happy. I can definitely reward for the backup because if you're going to escape me while we're playing, yes, that's exactly what I want. You can make that choice. You obviously can make that choice. I'm going to reward for that. Because if you move away, that's what I want you to do in reality, not just in play. But if you see a little bit of stress, you might take a step back. Good job. I gotcha. Another step back. You're on the leash. They can keep coming back, looking for me because they're still seeking. Not just now, they're actually seeking out for something, not just seeking out more information if that's a threat or whatever. Reducing triggers. So back to the picture with Aisha rolling in the grass. That's a de-stress. That's her being happy. That was still there with Rigby, a reactive dog with reactive tendencies, playing in front of him. Because she didn't care that it was him. She cared she felt safe enough to de-stress in front of me. She can do behaviors she wanted. She was able to self-express that I want to do this. I feel safe enough to do this. Conversation's not over just because there was a stressful situation. What happens afterwards? You help them reduce triggers. Not always be dying excited and trying to get them to play, but comforting them. Then letting them talk to you. It's no different than going on a roller coaster with your friends. When you know it's all stressful, up and down, oh, relief, there's moments of relief, and then they throw you through the loop again. And then when you're done, you're like, oh my God, I survived. Wasn't that great? How did you feel about it? Did you like the roller coaster? Oh, it was fun. Oh my God, that was so great. That's the de-stress of the roller coaster. And that's free play. When you're done laughing and de-stressing all that stuff, that's also free play. Your mind is now in pleasure because you're safe. You're with friends. You're communicating. You're self-expressing. Laughter is rewarding. And you can play in comfort. All right, let's go get some lunch. And then you go try that roller coaster. Nah, let's go try the tugboats. Let's go sit on the little water slide, something mellow. Maybe we'll try another scare your ride later. That's what we do. That's what dogs do in stressful situations. They will find something to reduce that stress. And if it means going to the bathroom, they're going to do that, and they're going to want to go ahead and play. If they can get comfort with you and you can lower their body temperature and you can kind of reduce their Their stress hormones, their stress chemicals. You're doing it together. You're forming a relationship. You're dealing with conflict resolution, which I talk about. What happens after a conflict is important. How do you de-stress together? How do you build up each other? Of all better relationships and better learning. All the above are essential in building trust and confidence, which lead to better relationships and set the dog and handle up for more success in learning together, because I'm learning at how the brain works to make the chemistry work more in my favor. Basically, having a relationship playing with a dog is fun and great, but if I can't handle them in stressful situations, what good am I? You're not going to. So, for example, when you go to call somebody, or when you find a significant other, you find a good friend, it's not always the person that's going to take you out for drinks when you're happy and celebrate all the good stuff. It's the person you can kind of go and cry on his shoulder on, you're not going to get judged on, right? Yes, we all have different types of friends, but the one you really kind of trust is the one that's going to help you when you are at your lowest. Dogs really don't have that. That's what I want to teach the owner to be. But it just takes a little bit, because dogs and humans are different. Or are they? So from Jaak Panksepp, mind you, he came at the time, he got to argue with Skinner. So he came about that time. But he got to come up, and he died in like 2015, 2016. He started with mental hospitals. He started with the VA hospitals when everybody was being medicated and put in rooms. Take this, you're fine. So I put this quote because I think it's important. These are the words of a great man who believed that emotional processes not only serve to record the value of sensory events, but also elicit adaptive responses and modify perception. That's also, it's not just a matter of what a dog sees. They're not limiting themselves. If they are limiting themselves, then we have to reteach them to look other ways, use other senses. There's 5 at least. And if you talk to TED Talks or listen to some of those, like 7 or 8 different senses we have, right? I can't think of, there's another one I was like, oh yeah, dog. We talk about that all the time. Can't remember what it is, but it's definitely more of a human thing. But it doesn't matter what it is, Jane doesn't like touch. I tolerate touch. I know other people want to do it. I learn to adapt around it. It's not my favorite thing, but I do enjoy it. Unless I'm doing it, of course. You know, hey, too bad for everybody else. I like to laugh, and I like to make people laugh, and I like to defuse a situation by making fun of myself. It makes you guys feel better. If you guys feel better, that laughter is a human free play. Your brain's lighting up a little bit, you're de-stressing, the good chemicals can rise. You're able to learn a little bit more. Jaak, all this stuff he's learned is because he got tired of looking through fear. He wanted to look at depressed people. He did this for PTSD, panic attacks, and he also did this for depression, ADHD. He said there's enough studies on fear. Antidepressants don't fully work. They suppress. That's what they're for. We have other emotions. Who's studying it? Paul Ekman. Okay. He had to fund his own research. So Jaak found out where he could get research funded and started studying play. We already knew shock collars can affect a crayfish, believe it or not. It goes right through nervous and depressive behaviors. How do we get them out of it? Everything plays. Everything plays. Let's focus on that. Let's build drugs to help that. Depressed people play, just not as often, and they can't keep it up. So all this goes to relationship building. We all discuss relationships. You have a great relationship with Freckles, right? But that's what when I asked you with joy, because I knew you're a very passionate person when I asked you that at the dinner, so I want to know what your joy and your stuff was. And it was fun that it didn't include your dog. But when it does include your dog, you light up. You're great. It's not about training. It's about the relationship, and you see it. Her free play was her grabbing that thing from you and running and doing stuff, and we're going to the car together. That's what you want. That's what we want. That's a relationship. So it's Lamb. This is my philosophy. Lamb, look at me, buddy. Not just looking. Hey, it's stressful. Look. No, it's that little lean. It's that little backup out of that stressful situation. It's that run to you just because there's another dog and I don't want to see it anymore. You're looking for me. It's me building a relationship, and it's stuff that we do with humans. It's all stuff that goes back and forth. It's not about what is a dog gonna do. This is not a training technique. This is a philosophy. We can make eye contact because affective neuroscience says if you touch and you look at stuff, you release oxytocins. When I look at my dog, they release oxytocins, I look at oxytocins. Comfort, reassurance, I got you. Over here, we're cool. We're good. We can stop and pet and hold our dog if we have to. If they're expecting we can comfort them, they're gonna lean for it and look for it. They're always seeking. Touch, touch, we need to bring it back. Let's touch. Relax. They wanna cuddle with us. Belle doesn't love to touch. Hold on. She doesn't love me touching her when she's sleeping. I rest my arm on her. Oh, but you can just lay right all over me. Thanks. Doesn't work. Seeking, it never stops. We can make it work in our favor and we can do things together. Build relationships. Like when you're doing the nose work, that's the most powerful sense. Your dog is able to use the most powerful sense and still include you with it. And still includes you with it, right? Dog smells a rat, barn hunts, all that stuff, right? You still have to be able to be part of that. Otherwise, found it? What are we doing? Empowerment and choices. We're always about empowerment and choices. This helps us with their choices. It makes them feel a little bit better because they feel trusted. You can self-express. So this is where I get most of my the hierarchy of dogs' needs. Linda Michaels, she translated from Maslow, which is great. But again, you talk your biological needs. This is Maslow's, and a lot of people have a problem with Maslow's hierarchy of needs because in his time, he was looking at happiness. He was looking for flat-out structures, how things work. Linda Michaels, her biggest key word to me is it fluctuates. My basic need after this, I gotta get water. I need something like that. But then I can still go back and socially interact. They found this stuff actually works with schools too. You get your biological needs, your emotional needs, social interactions and things like that. And when your dog's able to feel safe to learn, you can start doing more of this other stuff. I'm not gonna totally focus on that. Back to Durant. He was able to play after he poos. He used to chase bicycles and people. And I gotta give a special thank you to Caitlin. Suzanne and her dog training academy, and my daughter.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm here is because of my daughter. So I want to do one quick little experiment. You guys are gonna love me for this.
Oh.
So.
We need to put our coffees down.
Check that.
Scott's balls.
Drop them!
Who wants to play with me?
Who wants to play with Scott's balls?
Yeah, thanks. This is awkward. But see, here's the beauty of this. So if I'm throwing one up, the different reactions that happen that made this fun.
I got this
Right?
thing going.
Oh. So it makes this fun. Well, this is kind of nervous. I'm getting more nervous. I'm seeing like time's up. Time's up. Time's up.
Maybe he'll play with me.
Let's see, while you're doing this, you're de-stressing. The good stress, you're like anticipating, oh, am I going to catch it? You catch it, you don't, everybody else laughs, and now it becomes a group behavior. Everybody's now bonded together.
Beautiful.
This is how this all works together. This is how we can create more of a community for everybody else. So that said,
I asked how many of them
I'm
have
out.
been. I needed to know.
Right, how many balls?
I needed to know. Uh-huh.
Wait, do we have any more time? Oh, no time for questions. Sorry, I gotta go. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I had two
Good
dogs.
for you.
Neither
I
of
can
them
only
were
do it with
good
2
ones.
balls.
One of them was my Katrina rescue, who